You think you've lost time. You think you've missed it. You think the door has closed, the season has passed, and the ship has sailed without your name on the manifest. But I am here to tell you, time is not your master and spirit is never late. You may have wandered, delayed, hesitated, fallen, forgotten, repeated cycles again and again, but the law of the Lord restores. Spirit does not keep a clock as man does. Spirit keeps rhythm. And the rhythm of spirit can redeem years in a moment, if you will only speak what you have not yet dared to say. Most people waste years, not because they lacked talent or intelligence or opportunity, but because they never spoke the one sentence that would have shifted everything. They waited for signs, for confirmation, for the perfect plan, but they did not speak. And in the absence of a spoken word, life defaulted to the outer world, governed by appearances, delays, fears, and false timelines. The soul was ready, the good was prepared, the storehouse was full, but the lips were silent. Let me be clear from the very beginning. You are not late. You are not off course. You are not too far gone. What you call delay, God calls redirection. What you call wasted time, heaven calls training ground. What you thought was punishment was really positioning, but none of that becomes fruitful until your word aligns with your truth. You have waited too long. Not for God, but for your own permission. You have waited on circumstances to change, not realizing that the spoken word is the cause, not the effect. There is a sentence that rewrites history, a sentence that resets momentum, a sentence that snaps you back into divine timing and summons your demonstration with spiritual force. I will give it to you. I will show you how to use it, when to use it, and what happens when you do. But first, you must let go of the story that time has robbed you. Time cannot rob the child of God. It is subject to your word. The world tells you it's too late. Your ego tells you you've missed it. But I tell you now, what is yours cannot be lost. It is not gone. It is waiting. And it is waiting for your voice. Speak, and the years realign. Speak, and the rhythm returns. Speak, and what seemed far becomes near. Because in the realm of spirit, the moment you say the right thing, the whole universe moves to obey. You have not failed, you have simply not spoken, but now you will. Silence is not neutral. Silence is not stillness. Silence, when the soul longs to speak, becomes agreement with delay. Most people live by default because they refuse to declare their destiny. They believe that if they wait quietly long enough, life will reveal its purpose to them. But purpose does not appear to the passive. Purpose is provoked by the word. Destiny does not emerge in the silence of fear. It emerges in the boldness of faith. I have watched countless souls stall their miracles, not because they lacked worth, but because they lacked the courage to command. They watched others move forward. They watched opportunities pass. And they said, perhaps it wasn't meant to be. But that is not truth. That is a lie dressed as humility. The truth is, they did not speak. And the law, perfect, impartial, and obedient, responded accordingly. When you do not speak, you are not free. You are at the mercy of circumstance. You are living beneath your divine rights, acting as a spiritual beggar in a kingdom that belongs to you. There is no reward for suffering in silence. There is no medal for delay. There is only postponed good, waiting on your decree. Because the spoken word is what initiates spiritual movement, not emotion, not desire, not silence. Only speech activates the law. To say nothing when you should speak is to hand your authority to appearances. It is to give your inheritance to confusion. It is to sit on a throne and refuse to rule. You have a mouth, you have breath, you have the law of the word. But when you remain quiet in the face of stagnation, you are not practicing patience, you are permitting delay. There is no virtue in voicelessness. You were not created to tiptoe through time, hoping to stumble into your destiny. You were created to call it forth, You were created to say, "Let there be," and watch it come to pass. Every unsaid word is a locked door. Every unspoken truth is a seed that withers. Every time you choose silence over declaration, you choose wandering over alignment. It is time to end the silence. It is time to break the contract with delay. It is time to revoke the agreement you made with fear. And you will do it not by weeping, not by waiting, but by speaking. Say this now. I am no longer silent. I revoke every word I failed to say. I speak now, and life rearranges itself around my decree. This is not poetry. This is not metaphor. This is law. Law hears your voice. Law does not respond to intention. It responds to vibration. So speak, and speak now. For every moment you remain silent, you are not just delaying your good, you are agreeing to live beneath it. Now I give you the sentence. Not a phrase to decorate your journal, not a sweet affirmation to repeat without conviction. This is a spiritual decree that cuts through the illusion of wasted time, realigns you with divine timing, and commands the return of all that appears lost. This sentence, when spoken in faith and rhythm, has the power to shift your entire timeline, because it releases the law of restoration, the law of non-resistance, and the law of divine completion all at once. Here it is. Nothing is lost in spirit. I am now divinely redirected. What is mine comes swiftly and cannot be stopped. Say it again, slowly, with breath, with boldness, with sacred authority. Nothing is lost in spirit. I am now divinely redirected. What is mine comes swiftly and cannot be stopped. Most people never say this. Instead, they say, I missed it. It's too late. I blew my chance. Maybe it wasn't meant for me. And so they remain bound, not by truth, but by their own sentence of delay. Their word becomes their wall. Their speech becomes their snare. And they wait for years, not knowing that one sentence could have broken the cycle. Let me show you. A woman came to me in despair. She had turned down an opportunity 5 years earlier, a partnership, an investment, a life shift, and ever since, she had believed she ruined her future. She said, I had a window, and I let it close. But I did not accept that verdict. I handed her the sentence and told her to speak it aloud 3 times a day for 21 days. No wavering, no apologizing, no compromise. Just pure declaration. She began speaking, Nothing is lost in spirit. I am now divinely redirected. What is mine comes swiftly and cannot be stopped. On day 8, she received a call from a former colleague with a new invitation, better than the first, perfectly timed, precisely what she had desired. The old path had only been a shadow. The new one was the real thing. But it did not come by effort. It came by the word. The law responded to her sentence and realigned the invisible to serve her. Understand, spirit does not operate in linear time. It operates in divine pattern. And when your pattern becomes verbalized, when your rhythm matches heaven's blueprint, what you thought was gone will return by another route, not because you earned it, but because you finally spoke as one who knows. Repeat this now. Nothing is lost in spirit. I am now divinely redirected. What is mine comes swiftly and cannot be stopped. This is your new timeline. This is your spiritual override. This is the sentence that rescues the years. And once spoken in full faith, the law must obey. You think the years have been wasted. You look back on broken relationships, missed calls, half-built dreams, and you wonder, what was the point of it all? But I tell you boldly, in spirit, nothing is wasted, nothing is lost, and all time is redeemable through the spoken word. There is a higher clock than the one on your wall. There is a divine timeline that does not run on deadlines, disappointments, or delay. It runs on decree, and what you speak into that timeline becomes law. The law of restoration is not emotional, it is mathematical in spirit. It does not weigh your mistakes. It does not tally your failures. It listens only for the voice of faith, the command of truth, the sound of spiritual identity. And the moment you speak in alignment with restoration, the law begins to fold time, reroute your good, and bring forth what you believed was lost. Let me give you a living example. A man came to me defeated. He had spent 2 decades chasing one business that never bore fruit. He had ignored his inner promptings. He had resisted every call to pivot. He said, "Florence, I wasted 20 years of my life." And I told him, "You did not waste 20 years. You simply haven't yet spoken the word that redeems them." I handed him this declaration: "My years are not lost. They are restored. Every hour I once misused is now repaid with perfect purpose." He spoke it for 7 days. On the 8th, he met a former client who offered him a new path, an accelerated version of the old vision with all the resources he needed. What would have taken him 10 years to build came together in 10 weeks. Why? Because the years are not restored through effort. They are restored through law, and law obeys the spoken word. When you align your voice with truth, the so-called waste becomes wealth, the confusion becomes clarity, the regret becomes recompense. There is no lost time in the mind of God, only divinely delayed demonstration, waiting for your word. Say it with me now. My time is not lost. My path is not broken. My years are restored by law. I speak, and what was delayed now appears in divine perfection. Do not mourn the lost seasons. Speak over them, redeem them, command them to return. Say aloud, "What I missed in fear, I now receive in faith." This is the secret rhythm of heaven. What you thought you forfeited is now on its way back, faster, fuller, and firmer than ever, because you finally spoke the word that invited it home. And so it is. Delay is not caused by life. It is caused by vibration. When you vibrate with hesitation, you attract pause. When you vibrate with fear, you attract stagnation. When your word is muffled by doubt, you enter into spiritual limbo, not because spirit has withheld your good, but because your own tongue has suspended its arrival. So now, I teach you how to reverse delay, not with panic, not with force, not with desperate effort, but with deliberate, rhythmic, spiritual speech. You must learn to speak against delay like a master commands a servant, calmly, certainly, and without apology. The law does not respond to emotional volume. It responds to spiritual precision. Speak clearly, and the doors move. Speak rightly, and the crooked paths straighten. Speak faithfully, and time bends to your decree. There are moments when appearances will scream, "It's too late." That is your signal, not to retreat, but to speak louder in spirit. Speak directly into the delay. Say, "This is not denial, it is divine rearrangement." Say, "There is no delay in spirit. My demonstration is now being positioned." Say, "My path is being cleared in silence. My supply is arriving in order. I walk in perfect timing, regardless of appearances." Every time you speak like this, you override the illusion of waiting. You convert the appearance of stillness into the truth of movement. You remind the law of your authority. And the law, being perfect, cannot resist your instruction. Let this become your daily spiritual hygiene. When doubt arises in the morning, say, "This is the day of demonstration. I do not wait. I walk in revealed rhythm." When regret whispers in the afternoon, say, "I bless my former path. I now receive greater good with no resistance." When fear of delay returns at night, say, "Spirit wastes nothing. What is mine arrives swiftly under grace." This is how you speak as one who governs. This is how you exit delay and enter demonstration. You do not beg the day to turn. You declare that it already has. Speak now. There is no delay. There is only divine orchestration. What I call forth appears because I speak in rhythm with spirit. And let that be your ongoing rhythm, because once you begin to speak like this, not once but daily, not passively but powerfully, delay becomes impossible. The law has no choice but to obey the voice that refuses to be contradicted. Now I speak to you with holy urgency. You have heard the truth. You have received the sentence. You have touched the rhythm of law. But none of it will matter unless you accept the mantle, unless you act, unless you speak with consistency and command. This is not about inspiration. This is not about waiting until you feel ready. This is about rising in your own authority and deciding, once and for all, that your life moves at the pace of your word. So I give you this charge. For the next 21 days, speak this sentence 3 times a day, without fail, without hesitation, without apology. Nothing is lost in spirit. I am now divinely redirected. What is mine comes swiftly and cannot be stopped. Write it down. Carry it in your wallet. Save it on your phone. Whisper it into your pillow. Etch it into your day like a spiritual appointment, not out of superstition, but out of dominion. You are not testing God. You are activating law, and law responds to rhythm, to repetition, to unshakable belief. You must not speak this once and then return to fear. You must not speak it once and then contradict it with worry. You must not speak it once and then cancel it with your doubt. Speak it and seal it. Speak it and trust. Speak it and move. Here is your challenge. Speak the sentence when you wake. Speak it again at midday. Speak it once more before you sleep. Each time, speak as if the universe is leaning in to obey. Because it is. Speak with reverence. Speak with rhythm. Speak with joy. And expect to see signs, shifts, and divine interruptions within the first 7 days. Because the moment your word becomes law, life begins to reorder itself in your favor. And I tell you this, you will not finish these 21 days the same. Doors will open, regret will melt, momentum will rise. You will not need to chase what is yours. It will come find you because your word will have summoned it. You are no longer the seeker, you are the speaker. You are no longer the wanderer, you are the governor, and you no longer live by delay, you live by decree. So rise, speak, declare, and watch what returns, not because of time, but because of truth spoken in time. Now we speak not to explain, but to command, not to learn, but to imprint. This is the affirmation sequence that seals the truth into your being. Each sentence is a spiritual strike. Each word is a vibration of certainty. Say them not as questions, not as wishes, but as divine facts. Speak them with breath, with rhythm, with power. Let every part of you hear this. Let every old belief fall away. Let every cell obey. Say them now, out loud, slowly, one by one. Nothing is lost in spirit. What is mine returns in greater form. My years are redeemed by law. I am now divinely redirected. I do not wait. I walk in perfect timing. Delay is over. Demonstration begins. My word governs my timeline. What is mine comes swiftly and cannot be stopped. Again, nothing is lost. I am redirected. It is coming now. Let the rhythm carry you. Let the truth echo in you. These are not poetic lines. These are activation codes. Each one cancels an old belief. Each one plants a new pattern. You do not need more time. You need a new word. And now that you've spoken it, your world is rearranging. Say this final seal. I speak, I realign, I receive. Again, I speak, I realign, I receive. One more time. I speak, I realign, I receive. And so it is. Now that you have spoken, stay in rhythm. Do not return to silence. Do not shrink back into delay. Let your decree become your daily atmosphere. Let the vibration of your word continue until your demonstration is visible, tangible, undeniable. This is not the end of a video. It is the beginning of a new way of being. Comment below and write the sentence that restores your time. Nothing is lost in spirit. I am now divinely redirected. What is mine comes swiftly and cannot be stopped. Let your comment be a contract with law. Let your words testify to your new rhythm. Return to this message daily. Re-listen, re-speak, re-enter the current of power until your outer world reflects your inner alignment. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not late. You are in divine positioning now, and your word governs your world. Subscribe, not for more information, but to remain in this vibration. Come back here as often as you need, not to remember, but to reignite. This channel is not a library. It is a temple for your word. Your years were never wasted. They were simply waiting to be called back by your voice. And now you have spoken. The shift has begun, and nothing can stop it. And so it is. Stop. Whatever you are doing, stop. I speak not to your reasoning mind, nor to your fear, nor to the part of you that still believes wealth is earned through toil and tears. I speak to your soul, which has known all along. You were never meant to struggle for money. You were meant to speak to it. Money is not your master. It is not your opponent. It is not a finish line at the end of suffering. It is your obedient servant, awaiting your command. When the tongue aligns with truth, money obeys, not slowly, not someday, not after worthiness has been proven, but instantly, joyfully, and without resistance. One sentence, spoken in spiritual authority, turns lack into overflow. One sentence, when drenched in divine recognition, bends the seen and the unseen. I say it now with power. Money is not my master. It is my obedient servant. This is not poetry. This is not metaphor. This is law, divine law, irrefutable, eternal, perfect. And it is ready to work for you. The law I speak of is older than your doubt, older than your bank account, older than fear itself. It is the law of the spoken word, coupled with the law of instant manifestation. The moment the decree is pure, the moment the tone carries faith instead of fear, heaven responds, "Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee." That is not suggestion. It is legal authority in the court of spirit. When a king speaks, the word becomes law. When a beggar speaks, the wind ignores him. Which voice do you wear when you speak of money? Do you murmur like a victim or decree like a victor? Money does not respond to hope. It responds to command. You may have tried visualizing, affirming, hoping, praying. But if your voice wavers, if your tone trembles, if your word is dipped in doubt, then all your declarations collapse like paper against steel. You must speak not to the problem, but into the atmosphere, as if the problem never existed. That is the great secret. You do not move money by describing your lack. You move it by announcing your rank. Imagine a well-trained animal. It does not move because you need it to. It moves because you issued a clear, confident, consistent command. It hears tone, it hears posture, it hears certainty. So does money. If you say, "Please come," money will hesitate. If you say, "I don't know how," money will reflect your confusion. But when you say, "I command it now," with the conviction of heaven behind you, all of creation hears and obeys. Say it with me again. Money is not my master, it is my obedient servant. Let the old theology collapse. Let the gospel of effort die. Let the law of divine alignment rise in you now. Now we speak the sentence, not as a chant, not as a wish, not as an experiment, but as a verdict, as a spiritual ruling passed down from the throne of dominion. The sentence is this: money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. Let no one rush past these words. Let no seeker dare dilute their power. These are not poetic flourishes to entertain the mind. They are holy instructions for commanding matter through spirit, For wealth is not a number, but a vibration. It is not paper, but presence. It is not earned, but declared. The tongue is the key, and this sentence turns the lock. Let me show you why this sentence works. First, it names money rightly, not as a human master, not as a wicked temptation, not as an idol to fear, but as what it truly is, divine substance. It is not from banks. It is not from bosses. It is not from clients or contracts or economic conditions. It is divine. It is spiritual. It is born from the invisible realm of law, shaped by voice, and formed through the mold of consciousness. Until you call it divine, you will always fear it. Until you call it obedient, you will always chase it. Second, this sentence removes personification. You do not ask money how it feels. You do not wonder if it will cooperate. You do not shrink before its silence. You command it. You speak to it as a master speaks to a tool. You do not romanticize a hammer. You lift it and strike. So it is with money. You do not worship it. You direct it. And third, this sentence asserts spiritual control. Not through emotion, not through desperation, not through strained begging, but through clear, calm, unshakable authority. This is not theater. This is alignment. This is the tone of the soul that remembers who it is. You are not a hopeful borrower in a long line at the gate of provision. You are the gate. You are the word that opens it. You are the voice that names the amount, declares the timing, and commands its obedience. So now we practice, not just once, but with rhythm, with breath, with the stillness of law behind every word. Breathe in fully. Let the breath reach down to your belly. For shallow breath is the signature of fear, but deep breath is the foundation of certainty. Now, on your next exhale, speak with me slowly and without apology. Money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. Again. Money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. And once more, with every cell in agreement, with your inner court silent before your decree. Money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. This is not performance. This is law. This is not magic. This is dominion. Speak it daily. Speak it before looking at numbers. Speak it before signing contracts. Speak it before checking balances. Speak it until the world bends. Speak it until matter moves. Speak it until the room feels different and your atmosphere shifts from survival to surplus. Speak it not as a suggestion, but as the sentence that shifts all reality. Let us now destroy the idol of hustle, the illusion of strain, the grinding myth that has worn saints down to their bones and taught the spiritually royal to live like beggars. For too long, humanity has labored under the lie that money is made by sweat. That value must bleed out of the brow. That abundance is earned only through sacrifice and exhaustion and the brutal badge of effort. But I tell you now, this is not divine law, it is human programming. This is not spiritual truth, it is carnal hypnosis, and you must decide today whether you will serve hustle or serve harmony, whether you will cling to the sweat-soaked creed of the world or enter the peaceful current of the kingdom, where money comes by decree, not by distress, where wealth flows by vibration, not calculation, where spiritual substance answers voice, not effort, not education, not experience, not endless striving. We begin by replacing the language of bondage with the language of alignment. No longer shall you say, I have to hustle, for the word hustle implies that wealth is elusive, that supply is suspicious, that money is hiding and must be chased down with brute force and anxious cunning. But money is not hiding, it is listening. Money is not a fugitive, it is a soldier awaiting instruction. So we say instead, I have to harmonize. I align with the current of divine flow. I get in rhythm with the law that governs increase. I move with the melody of spiritual abundance, and I let it carry me. When I speak in tune with truth, supply comes not with a fight, but with ease. No longer shall you say, I earn it. This phrase must be torn from your vocabulary like a weed from a garden. It is the chant of the spiritually amnesiac, the mantra of those who have forgotten that all things are given freely to the one who remembers their inheritance. Replace it immediately with, I align with it. Money is not earned, it is permitted. It is not achieved, it is received. And it cannot find you if your speech betrays a consciousness of toil. You do not earn sunlight. You open the curtain. You do not earn gravity. You surrender to its pull. So it is with divine supply. You do not earn it by labor. If I had to start over with nothing but my voice, I'd still be rich, because the word is the wealth. I would not fear the blank slate. I would not tremble at the absence of money, connections, or position. I would not look to the left or the right, but only within. Because I know what most people do not. Your voice, aligned with truth, is your bank, your credit, your access to the infinite supply. It is not the job, the market, or the man who writes the checks. It is the decree. The divine decree uttered from the lips of faith cracks open the vaults of heaven. I would say what the soul already knows, but the world has forgotten, that the word is substance, that the spirit speaks in substance, that the unseen is more solid than any coin. I would stand where all seemed empty, and I would speak until it was full. I would bless the silence and break it with gold. Because I am not the beggar of life. I am not the borrower of riches. I am the speaker of supply, and I would speak until my words built the house, summoned the money, gathered the favor, multiplied the bread, and filled the barns. If I had nothing but my voice, I'd still be rich, because the word is the wealth. The decree is the door. And I would start over, not in fear, but in full spiritual authority. The law is this: your wealth does not come from effort, from hours worked or strategies executed. It comes by the law of prosperity, divine law, irrevocable and ever ready, which says that all supply is spiritual and all demonstration begins in consciousness. You are not made rich by the outer world. You are made rich by your inner word. It is law that what you impress upon the subconscious must be expressed in your affairs. And most men live in poverty not because God is absent, but because their speech denies him. They affirm lack, they worship delay, they bow before fear. But the law of prosperity is unmoved by appearance. It does not care if your pockets are empty, if your account is low, if your clients are silent or the market is cold. The law only asks, what are you speaking? What are you imagining? What are you declaring to be true? Because the word is the mold and supply is the molten gold that fills it. Let the weak say, I am strong. That is not poetic sentiment. It is spiritual precision. It means, even when your hands are trembling and the door is closed and the bank account is whispering lies, you say, I am strong. You say, I am rich. You say, there is no delay in divine supply. You speak the truth of spirit, not the report of the senses, because your voice is the lever that lifts the weight of the world off your back. Most people are not starting over financially. They are starting over spiritually. They have built their fortunes on sand. They have hustled without declaring. They have moved without listening. They have tried to earn what was meant to be spoken into form. And so when the tide comes in and sweeps it all away, they think they have lost. But I tell you, you have only lost what was never truly yours. What is yours by divine law can never be taken. What is yours by spiritual decree must appear again. And so I say, start over, but not by strategy. Start over in consciousness. Start over in your words. Tear down the house of doubt and build the mansion of truth. Begin again, not in fear, not in striving, not in logic, but in declaration. Because the wall that kept you from millions was never made of stone. It was made of silence. It was made of hesitation. It was made of begging instead of commanding. Break it now. Speak your word. Align with law. Declare that your supply is spiritual, eternal, invisible, and now being made visible. Speak until you see it. Declare until you hold it. Say it until it comes, because that is how the law of prosperity moves, not by effort, but by authority, by alignment, by divine words spoken in faith. And you have that power now. You must speak riches, not poverty. You must declare the unseen as if seen, and do it with a voice that does not tremble, a voice that knows its power, a voice that remembers its source. Most people wait to see the money before they feel secure. They wait to receive the check before they give thanks. They wait for the door to open before they call it theirs. But divine law does not operate on human delay. It moves only when you move by faith, when you dare to declare what the eye has not yet seen and the hand has not yet touched. You say it first. You command it first. You speak it in the silence, in the absence, in the nothingness, and you speak it as if the whole world already agreed. That is the secret of wealth, not ambition, not worry, not strategy, but divine speech, rhythmically repeated, spiritually backed, unquestioningly believed. You do not need to convince the world. You need only convince your subconscious. And the subconscious, when properly impressed, will build your fortune, organize your affairs, arrange your meetings, fill your account, and place you in the right place at the right time to receive what you have already called forth in the spirit. The outer is the echo, the inner is the sound. So I say unto you, declare it now. Say, I now draw to myself wealth divine, and nothing can keep it from me. Say it not with hesitation, but with certainty. Say it as the law. Say it as a decree from the throne of your own divine authority. You are not speaking to wealth. You are speaking from it. You are not begging a distant force to help you. You are summoning what is already yours by divine inheritance. Let this sentence become your sword, your staff, your daily bread. Say it in the morning. Say it when fear creeps in. Say it before you check your bank account. Say it until your very atmosphere hums with the vibration of provision. I now draw to myself wealth divine, and nothing can keep it from me. Let every word ring like a bell in your soul. Let it dissolve doubt. Let it cancel limitation. Let it undo years of worry and striving. Let it rewire your entire being until you no longer hope for money, you expect it. Until you no longer fear lack, you laugh at it. Until you walk as one who knows the treasury of heaven stands open at the sound of your voice. This is not fantasy. This is not positive thinking. This is spiritual law. And law is not emotional. It is not moved by whining or worry. It is activated by precision, by word, by conviction. So stop narrating your lack. Stop rehearsing your fear. Stop reinforcing the illusion with words of doubt and defeat. Speak wealth. Declare abundance. Announce your inheritance. And do it now. Because every day you wait is a day you reinforce the false. Speak the truth. Stand in the invisible riches of spirit and let the world catch up to what you already know is yours. Say it until you become it. Declare it until it manifests. And never again give your voice to the lie of lack. You must now go deeper. You must not simply say the words. You must dissolve the inner noise that argues against them. Because within every person who has suffered under the illusion of lack, there is a clamor of doubt, a static of resistance, a loud and lying chorus that speaks in the voice of reason, memory, and past defeat. This inner noise must be cleared because it interferes with the broadcast of truth. And what is that noise? It is the memory of unpaid bills, the echo of rejection, the shame of wasted time, the fear of starting over again without proof. But I tell you this, you are not starting over. You are starting correctly. You are not beginning again. You are beginning from alignment. And that is the only beginning that matters, because the former things shall be remembered no more. The old voice, the one that says, you tried this before and it didn't work. The one that whispers, maybe some people are just lucky. The one that shouts, be realistic. That voice is not your voice. That is the voice of the world's hypnosis. That is the voice of collective fear. And it is not divine. It is not permanent. It is not true. So you must speak until that noise is silenced. You must repeat the truth until it rings louder than the lie. You must say, I now draw to myself wealth divine, and nothing can keep it from me, until that sentence becomes louder than your memory, louder than your fear, louder than your past, louder than the headlines, louder than the bank report. You must not fight the noise. You must replace it, because the subconscious cannot hold two opposing pictures. And when you fill it with the word of wealth, the word of power, the word of truth, it must reject the old image. It must align with what you repeatedly say. Think of your inner world like a radio dial. If you want to hear the frequency of abundance, you must first tune out the static. The static is your old beliefs, your past disappointments, your conditioned logic that says, unless I see it, I can't believe it. But the metaphysical law is this: you believe first, you speak first, you declare first, and then you see. That is the path of the soul. That is the voice of dominion. You are not a seeker of riches. You are a divine magnet. You are not chasing wealth. You are commanding it. And when the inner frequency is set, when the static is cleared, when the word becomes flesh within you, the outer world must mirror it. It is law. It is inevitable. The old self who struggled, who calculated, who panicked at the sight of an empty wallet, she is no longer here. She has been replaced by the one who knows, the one who speaks, the one who tunes her mind to truth and lets nothing interrupt the broadcast. Let the inner noise be stilled now. Let the static fall silent. Let the voice of spirit speak through you with clarity, rhythm, and certainty. You are the temple, the transmitter, the magnet, the vessel, and divine wealth is already rushing to fill every part of you that is now aligned with its frequency. Say it until it is your new silence. Say it until it is the music of your soul. Say it until your very being vibrates with the certainty that nothing, absolutely nothing, can keep from you what God has declared to be yours. Poverty is not a punishment. It is a spell, a spoken curse, a whispered agreement, a sentence handed down not by God but by man, repeated again and again until it hardened into appearance. It is not reality. It is not law. It is not divine. It is the echo of words long forgotten, words you may not even remember speaking, words that were spoken over you by frightened parents, weary teachers, anxious friends, bitter voices who had themselves bowed before the altar of lack. Money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard for every dollar. That's too expensive. That's not for people like us. These words, seemingly small, repeated over and over, entered the subconscious and set the thermostat of your life. And now, like a home preset to stay cold, you have walked through the seasons of your life with your heat turned down by the words of others. But I tell you now, you are not cursed. You are not bound. You are not limited by your job, your age, your education, or your economy. You are bound only by the words you have accepted as true. And the moment you choose to say a new word, to install a new sentence, to shatter the old spell with a new decree, you are free. You are released. You are reprogrammed. You are restored to your divine inheritance. And the one sentence that will do it is not long or complicated or poetic. It is a simple arrow of truth shot straight into the illusion. It is this: God is my unfailing supply, and large sums of money come to me now, under grace, in perfect ways. This is not a wish. It is not a charm. It is a truth, a spiritual detonator, that when spoken in faith with